No. I kind of, yeah.
All righty, good morning. Today is June 24th, 2025. Time is 9 o'clock. Welcome to the Delaware County Council meeting. We'd all stand for the pledge. Brandy, would you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Roll call, please, Tanya.
Mr. Bookout,
Present.
Mr. Flanagan,
Here.
Mr. Mokel,
Present.
Mr. Hughes,
Here.
Mr. Cantz,
Here.
Ms. Piper. Here. Mr. Whitehead,
Present.
Mr. Freeman, Mr. Carroll.
Thank you. Was the agenda posted properly? Perfect, thank you. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Jessica. Roll call.
Mr. Flanagan,
Yes.
Mr. Hughes,
Yes.
Mr. Mokel,
Yes.
Mr. Bookout,
Yes.
Ms. Piper. Yes. Mr. Cantz,
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes. Thank you. I'd entertain a motion to approve the May 27th council meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Jessica, second by Dan. Any comments or corrections? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan,
Yes.
Mr. Hughes,
Yes.
Mr. Mokel,
Yes.
Mr. Bookout,
Yes.
Ms. Piper. Yes. Mr. Cantz,
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to the transfers. Elizabeth?
Starting off in County General, 139 Public Defenders, 149 101 Public Defender, negative $635, 150 101 Public Defender, negative $3,470, 195 175 Disability Insurance, positive $4,105, total transfer zero.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Jessica, second by Dan. Any questions or comments?
Hi, I'm Shelley Harvey, Delaware County Public Defender's Office. These are funds that we had two of our public defenders leave, and we had a little bit of salary in each line left over. So I went ahead and requested to transfer over into those lines just to shore up the rest of the year in the disability line.
Why would it need $4,100? The appropriation in the original was $5,800. Is the premium going, why do you need the additional money in disability?
I didn't ask for enough for this year, but I did for next year.
As of June 30 of last year, there was $2,200 still in it, which is almost half. How is that payable? Is that payable monthly
Monthly.
and it's gonna be over $9,000, almost $10,000 this year?
I would have to look back at it. I mean, I trust what you say. I don't remember how much it costs. They did give us the wrong rates last year. And a lot of people came back, at the beginning of the year, and I'm just coming back asking to transfer, instead of appropriate.
I understand.
Okay.
I wonder if the commissioners are looking at that company. That seems like a big increase in rate to me.
Well, it wasn't necessarily the increase in rate, it was that we had an incorrect rate for last year.
Well, that shouldn't happen either. They should give you the correct rates.
And a lot of people came back in January and asked for that money so that they could get their insurance balanced out and be safe for the rest of the year.
Thank you.
This is a challenge that gets avoided with the new OpenGov thing, correct? Tanya?
I'm sorry.
This gets corrected with the OpenGov where those calculations will be automatically done as they're putting it.
That's correct. However, the rate will need to be correct.
Sure.
But it would be correct across the board, or incorrect for this.
That's correct.
Any further questions?
What are we doing in regards to hiring the additional people?
Those positions have been filled, and, one person that we hired is, well, actually, both, positions that we filled are local attorneys, so we did not have to go out of town, which is great, because we know they're gonna stick around. And so we hired Brandon Murphy, and then, an attorney he's a young attorney, but he's been a public defender, for Madison County, and his name's Caleb Maury. So hopefully with these young bucks that we'll be able to keep them in our department for longer than the circular motion that we've seen in the past. And with the salary raises that they received, they are sticking around longer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Bookout.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes. Thank you. Elizabeth, moving on.
148, Delaware Muncie Metro Planning Commission. 150, 101, Community Planner, negative 11,440. 107, 101, Principal Planner, negative 300. 104, 101, Transportation Planner, negative $38.30. 102, 101, Administrative Assistant, positive $3,575.52. 110, 101, Building Zoning Administrator, positive $4,880.62. 106, 101, Zoning Appeals Planner, positive $3,322.16, total transfer 0.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Jessica, second by Dan. Colleen, you want to explain this?
Yes, good morning, council. Kylene Swackhammer from the Plan Commission. So our office is currently at full staff. However, the past couple years, we have had some exceptional circumstances. I am requesting to pay out 3 of my employees for comp time that they earned strictly to us, strictly due to us having multiple positions vacant at the same time. So I'm requesting to use $11,778.30 in unused salary money to the positions requested, rather than these 3 employees losing the comp time that they have earned. That still leaves over $3,000 in unused salary money that will be returned to County General. We've continued to return a significant amount of the unused salary over the past 3 years. We are currently at full staff, so we will hopefully not run into this issue again. We had 3 people that had been in our office over 20 years leave around the same time. So that's pretty much impossible at this point to run into that for, the next 20 years. So the reason I'm asking is I just do not want to see these employees lose this time without being compensated for it, because they did put in this time when we were in a difficult situation. So I would hate to see them lose this time. The handbook currently says now that you cannot accumulate more than 80 hours and that you do have to use it within 90 days. Yes, use it within 90 days. So that is the policy that we're following now. It was just a little impossible for us to follow a policy such as that when we had work that needed to be done in order to keep our office running.
All right, any questions for Colleen?
So it's not this isn't a salary increase, this is just for the comp
Yes,
time.
no, this is not a salary increase. This money is already sitting in our budget. was budgeted for positions that were just not filled. So just asking to move it, not asking for any additional money.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I would like to make one more comment on this. The planning commission has given back quite a few dollars over the last few years when they were short-staffed. And so I feel like these employees have earned this because of their extra work. If no further comments, roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Bookout.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes. Thank you, Kylie.
Thank you, council.
Moving on, Elizabeth?
145 jail. There's a correction right here. This should read 110 clothing allowance, negative $6,000. 110-101 correctional officer, negative $2,533. 113-101 correctional officer, negative $1,013. 114-101 correctional officer, negative $517. 125-101 correctional officer, negative $654. 130-101 correctional officer, negative $844. 141 correctional officer, negative $1,519. 149-101 correctional officer, negative $1,731. 153-101 correctional officer, negative $686. 154-101 correctional officer, negative $3,377. 134-101 correctional officer, negative $1,034. 197-101 overtime, positive $11,375. 198-101 part-time, positive $8,533, total transfer zero.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Jessica, second by Dan. Any questions?
Explain, please.
This is just my one of 2 times a year that I go through on any excess. Due to the federal transports, that person gets paid at a higher rate, which depletes our overtime or our part-time budget quickly. So I moved part of that overage and salaries down into that part-time line to help cover till the end of the year.
How do you get in, tell me about the negative 6,000 in the clothing allowance, please?
We give out clothing allowances twice a year, so in halves. If you have not reached your year, then you do not get your first installment of the clothing allowance by the time it's paid. So we did that in May. So if an officer hadn't been there for a year yet, they didn't get their first installment. That's the reason I had that many that hadn't hit their first installment payment.
So in the second half of the year,
Some of these people may get their second installment, so if I have any left, it may be less than that. Or should be less than that, actually.
so you're not gonna be coming back to us and then, wanting us to appropriate a clothing allowance?
No, I wouldn't have to do that. I only moved the first half. If they didn't earn it the first half, then I went ahead and I've moved it now into overtime or this part-time money.
Okay, so what would have happened if you didn't have that clothing allowance of $6,000 for all the overtime and part-time that we paid out?
And then eventually I might have to come back and ask you to appropriate more money. That's the hope. I don't want to have to do that. I try to use what funds we already have. And then if we don't need the overtime, it just comes back to the general fund anyway.
And where does the part-time, who are those people, please?
Well, one of them is the federal transport officer.
Oh, I'm sorry,
And then we have found that using part-time correctional officers to fill in on the weekends has made it much easier to keep staff because then our officers can get days off. Whereas before they weren't able to do that. Then we would run short on the weekends because they would just call off. And then we'd have to force people over, which upset more people, use more overtime, and it was just a vicious cycle.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Nancy? One comment onto that, Jim, is that the federal transport, we do get reimbursed for that, correct?
Correct. You do get reimbursed for all that. I do just deposit or quietus it all back into the general fund. If it gets to that point and I have to ask for part-time money, obviously that would be the monies I would be taking it back out of.
Sure. All righty.
Good to know. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions?
Bless you.
All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes,
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Bookout.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes. Thank you. All right, Nancy, I guess you could stay right there. Elizabeth, continue.
Still in 145 jail. 112-101 head matron, negative $32,138.92. 160-101 cook, negative $22,931.64. 161-101 cook, negative $22,931.64. 162-101 cook, negative $24,460.42. 145-182 prorated longevity, negative $117.14. 197-126 overtime, negative $7,009. 199-119 holiday overtime, negative $5,130. Sorry. 110 clothing allowance, negative $3,000. 223 operating supplies, food, lodging, negative $11,557.38. 310 contractual services, positive $129,276.14. Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Jessica, second by Dan. Nancy, you want to explain the second one, please?
This is just moving the remaining salaries, and one cook had prorated longevity, and then their clothing allowances, the second half of their clothing allowance, over into the contractual services since the new food company has taken over. That this should finish out everything that was remaining on those lines, so I can pay through the contractual services.
Any questions?
how does the head matron figure into that?
She's in charge of the kitchen,
Okay,
and
so-
that position went to the new company.
Okay, thank
So
you,
it's no longer a county employee position.
thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes,
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Bookout.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes.
Thank you.
Nancy. You get to stay there for more?
Good.
All righty, moving in on to others.
I'll just hang out.
Elizabeth?
1170 lit jail. 106-101 correctional officer, negative 2,786. 108-101 correctional officer, negative $3,008. 114-101 correctional officer, negative $1,182. 197-126 overtime, positive $6,976. Total transfer zero. Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Jessica, second by Dan. Any questions?
Same thing.
Same thing. I'm just, my one of 2 times a year I'll move into the overtime.
Any further questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
yes,
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Bookout,
Yes.
Ms. Piper,
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
All right, continuing on, Elizabeth.
All right. 1,200, 247, Public Defender's Office Supplemental Fund. 175, Disability Insurance, positive $60. 174, Life Insurance, positive $80. 184, 118, File Maintenance, negative $140. Total transfer 0.
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion by Jessica, second by Dan. Any questions? All right, hearing none, roll call.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Bookout.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes. Thank you, Shelley. All right, moving on to appropriations. Elizabeth?
All right. Starting in County General, 148, Delaware Muncie Metro Planning Commission, 221, Operating Supplies Fuel, $209.21, 331 Printing, $236 for a total of $445.21.
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion by Jessica, second by Dan. Kylie, you want to explain this, please?
Yes, Kylene Swackhammer, Plan Commission. So the first one, the $209.21 is a WEX bill. The claim was filed to be paid in August of 2024. However, it was not paid until 2025. The second one is kind of the same issue. It is for $236. The original claim was filed in August of 2024, but it was not paid until 2025.
All righty. Questions or comments?
In theory, you had the money in your fund, you gave it back to general at the end of the year.
Yes.
Further questions or comments?
Were these encumbered?
No, they were not encumbered because they were from August, so it wasn't like a December payment. We didn't know it needed to be encumbered because at that time we didn't know that it had not been paid.
Okay, thank you.
How do we not pay a bill from August?
Well, we send the claim in, down to the auditor's office. We don't actually pay the bill.
If I may.
Yeah.
We spoke with planning prior to this meeting, and we recommended that she come today and appropriate because the money would have went back to general. Why it was missed, I honestly don't have that answer for you. It shouldn't have been missed, but it was missed. So we are trying to make that up for her now.
Okay. Thank you.
Further comments or questions? All right, hearing none, roll call.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Bookout.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes.
Thank you, council, and thank you, Tanya.
All right, moving on. Elizabeth?
139, Public Defender, 185, 138, Transcript Fees, 25,000. 186, 113, Attorney Fees, 50,000. 310, Professional Services, 75,000 for a total of 150,000.
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion by Jessica, second by Dan. Shelley, do you want to explain this, please?
Sure. Shelley Harvey, Public Defender's Office. We start the year with fund or a certain amount, obviously, in each of these funds. To begin with, our attorney fees request, we started and paid out in January attorney fee bills from 2024, the amount of $14,300. The reason they were not encumbered, we paid everything that we could before the end of the year, but these are bills that came in November, later in November, early December, where it's too late to ask for money to pay those bills that I'm holding. The jury trials so far this year, we've had 5 of the major felony jury trials. And those, probably all of them, we may have had one child molest, but the others are dealing resulting in death. And we know that the prosecutor's office has been, fighting the dealing resulting in death cases, filing them to try to stop the problem. But they are level 1 felonies, and when they go to jury trial, because our attorneys are pulled out of their office for 5 days, they do get an extra stipend or an amount when they, at the end of the trial. Then, of course, they get appealed, and we've had 10 appeals. 5 of those would have been left over from last year's end of year trials where they don't have to, the appeal's not filed until, sometime later. So I've spent $41,000 so far in appeals, which is, it's unheard of. But, so I've spent that $78,000 so far. Now, looking at just since I've submitted this month hasn't been so bad. So I'm asking for $32,375, which may actually be too much. I'm hoping it'll be too much. But I was told by finance that they would rather that I go ahead and ask for what I thought could get me through the year rather than having to come back later. And this all may adjust at budget time. Maybe I'll be able to get some of this back because, another 3 months can make a huge difference in where we are toward the end of the year. The transcripts go along with those 10 appeals because after every trial, as I've said, there's an appeal, and the court reporters have to prepare transcripts. They get a certain amount of pay per page, and having been a court reporter for 15 years, they don't get paid enough. But we start with the 25,000 in transcript, or 40,000 in transcripts, I'm sorry, and we've already spent 34,000. So we have just not so much left, 11,000, but if I could get another 25, again, I may be able to give you a little back at budget hearing time. The big professional services, where we start with 75, and I'm requesting another 75. These are as you know, our attorneys have case caps that are mandated by the State Public Defender Commission, the commission that provides our 40% reimbursement. And so when our attorneys are full, we have to assign cases to outside attorneys who are willing to help us. We have a lot of payment going to juvenile court. So far this year, we've had to assign outside cases for juvenile court, and it's not the delinquency, it's the chins, unfortunately. But so we have paid out that. Our other problem is psych services. I was telling the finance committee the other day that we used to get $15,000 a year in psych services, and that would get us through the year. However, with the drug epidemic, the people get arrested, they come into jail, their attorneys meet with them, and they say, we got to have this person evaluated for psych. They don't know if the problem is they're addicted. They don't know if the problem is their brain is fried. I mean, I hate to put it like that, but so we have to have them tested to determine whether or not they're, we request the evaluation for ourselves so that we could possibly save the county some money, because when we request an evaluation just to see what the doctor says, the public defender's office has to pay. Then when we file a motion to determine whether or not the defendant was competent when he committed the crime, alleged crime, or when or if he's competent to stand trial. And then we file those documents, and then that comes out of courts because the doctors have to come and testify. So we are the first step in seeing if the person, has mental issues that would preclude him being able to be tried or convicted. So that psych testing and the number of people that we have had to hire to cover cases is phenomenal this year, 71,312. So I've only got 3,600 left. I did get a few bills before I came here. Got a few bills last week. So I had nothing to do but request an appropriation for these funds. And I have included them in next year's budget so that I hopefully will not have to come back and ask for money for these next year.
Tell me again about the attorney fees.
The attorney fees, if an attorney gets paid, if an attorney has a trial that lasts between 3 and 5 days, they get paid for being out of the office or out of their private office for 5 days and in court 5 days.
Is that a resolution or ordinance that we have in place for that pay? Is that part of our salary ordinance? They may not.
State or?
It is, ever since I started with the Public Defender's Office, it has been in the Public Defender policy that gets approved by the State Public Defender Commission. So that it's just, I hate to say it, just the way it's always been.
Yeah, I'd love to see proof of that, I guess, is my question.
Okay.
Just because, I mean, we budgeted 110 grand in attorney fees in this line item, and now it's up to another 50. And I get the reasons why you've already stipulated, so that's not really the question. The question is, why do they get paid more and prosecutors don't for 5 days more, kind of thing. I don't know. So,
And the appeals, they have to read the transcript of a 3 to 5 day. Then they write the brief, which takes hours and hours, and file the appeal with the Court of Appeals, and so they get paid for that.
okay.
So is the full 150, 40% reimbursable?
Yes.
So 90 is what we're spending essentially. On those contract counsel, we're up to 58,000 in June. Has there ever been any consideration to simply hiring another public defender as sort of a floater to fill in when there's a conflict, or because the salary is 52,000. We've already spent 58 and a half a year. If you had one more public defender, could we cut down on the amount of contract counsel we need?
For sure. A lot of the murder cases that get filed, they have sometimes 3, 4 defendants. And there may be a situation where we would have to hire a contract counsel. It would certainly help. But that might not cut back on conflicts. Like if someone's murder qualified and we hired them as a floater, there'd be the benefits that we would pay out for that employee. And there would be sometimes, they would have to be murder qualified and juvenile chins and termination qualified. Which, we could do that. And, but with the benefits and everything, and quite frankly, not knowing next year may be a slower year. I hate to say slower, but we may not have to spend as much. And I'd hate to spend, it's a great idea, 58,000 plus we're asking for more. I've got 2 psych evaluations that are going to come in, and they're 2,600 apiece. So there's, I'm going to be spending more money on psych. I just don't know that might be a solution. I think it's definitely worth, looking at, but I think it would be difficult to fill in as a floater. Our public defenders, are assigned to courts, as you know, and they flow through their courts. They know how their court operates, and a floater having to float through 6 courts, counting juvenile, it just may not be realistic. Yeah, and learning, and the scheduling conflicts with, if they've got cases in this court and the cases in this court at the same time, because when an attorney is assigned to their court does, this block of time in criminal and this block of time in criminal. Their attorneys know when they're not allowed to schedule in their private practices because they've got to be in criminal court this time, this time, this time. Whereas if they had to work all across all 5 courts, I think you might have some mad judges when, they're saying, well, I've got to be in Circuit 3 this morning, and have to move their cases around. I think it's a good idea.
Now, where do we get our contract counsel from, though? They're mostly out of county, aren't they?
No, our juvenile, contract attorneys, which frankly is where most of this is going. We've paid Cannon and Bruns a lot of money because Brandon Murphy has always been willing to take our, level 1s, murders, and now he's gonna be on staff, so we're not gonna be paying Brandon Murphy any, contract fees. Our juveniles that we hire, Leslie Mathewson, Jesse Blanton, we don't hire any out of county for juvenile cases, and that's where a lot of our contract fees are being spent. But it's the big cases, the murder cases, the F1 cases. Caleb Morey will eventually be qualified. He's working to get qualified in the upper level felonies, but Brandon, he'll be able to help take some of those higher cases, and we won't have to pay for them
Okay.
out of that contract line.
So some of this may
Be
resolve with
alleviated.
the new hires.
Yeah, and I could get you how much we've paid Cannon and Bruns this year. It's a lot.
Thank you.
The numbers that you have appropriated for 2025, 2024, and payable in 2025, those numbers are, I'm going to assume, are based on previous year's experiences. Is that correct?
Yes.
So this really sounds like just a spike, maybe hopefully for this year, and maybe it'll settle down to what previous years have been. Is that kind of where we're headed?
Since I had to come back and ask for funds in all of these accounts, in 24 and now 25, we thought we ought to add it to the 26 budget request, but you're exactly right. It may have been, these 2 years may have been a spike. You just never know with trials and the number of cases that are going to get filed. You just don't know. And you never know. You can, the Chins cases take a big hunk of that professional services money. And unfortunately, our Chins and termination cases are through the roof.
What's the trend?
I'm sorry.
The trend would be that it's spiking
There-
again.
Yes, it seems to be spiking, along with meth cases. And the drug cases. It is, the more of those cases, not that only get filed, that are recognized. There's some kind of arrest in a house, the kids are going. And so there's just so much drugs in this town that the police, the prosecutor, trying to cut back on that and help us eliminate the issue. But, these kids, they go right into the Chin system and eventually termination.
Thank you.
All righty, any other questions or comments?
Emily has one comment to maybe help.
Yeah, this might help. So I had Carrie look at our jury trials this year. So we've paid out just 8 jury trials this year. which is unheard of. But 16 have canceled. So we've sent them out and they've canceled, whether it's been a plea or for whatever reason they've canceled. So we could have had to pay 16 more. So we've only spent, with the two she's getting to pay out, about 40,000 of our funds. What I can have her do is start paying out of our jury fee fund, which is outside county general, so that we're not spending out of our county general fund, and then that might offset a little bit of this appropriation, since we're not seeing the jury trials going, like they're getting sent out, but they're not getting paid out. I will say that with the chins, our juvenile court is 5 days a week now, has been for quite some time, and we are seeing that trend. It's continuing to go up. It's not going down. It's just trending upward each year. And it is because of parents that are involved in the justice system. Then the kids get involved in the justice system. That's what we see. So I will make sure that we, as our department, to help offset their department, will start dipping into the jury fee fund now, to try and offset this appropriation, so it's not such a hard hit. Thank you. Okay.
That's appreciated. Thank you,
Yeah.
Emily. Any further questions or comments?
Emily, is that required transfers into? No.
It's already appropriated.
And
All right.
I'd like to, I talked to Shelley about it earlier, but she told us at budget time that because of how our budgeting system works, that she figured she'd have to come back and see us this year to get more appropriations. She turned it in and the bills came in, and then you can't add to it.
the fact, correct.
Understood. All right, hearing nothing else, roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
No.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Bookout.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you. All right, moving on to other. Elizabeth?
8195, JCC Juvenile Grant, 101 Probation Officer, 53,689, 171 FICA, 4,108, 172 PERF, 6,014, 173 Health Insurance, 15,656, 174 Life Insurance, 121, 175 Disability Insurance, 412, 310 Professional Services, 20,000 for a total of 100,000.
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion by Jessica, second by Dan. Emily, you want to give us an explanation, please?
Sure. Emily Anderson, Court Administrator. This is a renewal of a grant that we already have. However, it is a different fund as they require alternating funds on these grants. So you'll see it's a different fund number. This supports our juvenile probation officer that is funded by this grant, and also juvenile electronic monitoring. There's the word. So it pays for any juveniles that are on electronic monitoring under DCCC. That's at 20,000.
All righty.
Okay.
Any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Bookout.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes. Thank you. We'll go on to the next one, Elizabeth.
9115 Wellness Grant, 173 Health Insurance, 1,238 for a total of 1,238.
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion by Jessica, second by Dan. Emily, you give us an explanation, please?
Sure. At budget time, the CASA director appropriated funds to cover the VOCA grant. They have to cover the benefits out of other grants, and she just did not have enough for health insurance at that time. She wanted to wait to see how all the grants fell at the end of the year. So she's appropriating the rest of that CASA wellness grant to cover health insurance, and that's the amount we need to get through the end of the year on that person.
Any questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Bookout.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emily.
Emily, real quick, how do the grants look for next year? Do you have any reason to think that your grants are gonna be cut? for the
So
new-
currently that VOCA grant that I just mentioned for CASA is through 26. So we're okay until 26. I have not heard where we're at on that. And we've lost our CASA director. We have a new one, but she's not, I guess, experienced with that particular grant. The other grants, the wellness grant, which is one of her grants, is not funded anymore. So we are using that till it runs out, which is getting close. The state reimbursement grant, we have not been told that that's going to go away, which is her main grant, which is what matches from County General. I've not heard about VOCA, which is federal. I don't think that's going to be an issue. Before Ashley left, she didn't act like that was an issue. I don't know about the other one, which is that capacity building grant. That's the one I'm worried about because that's a state grant. So,
I think you came to us, last year indicating that, there were other grants available, but you didn't have personnel or something to.
right.
Okay, so what's the
So-
status of those, to your knowledge?
So for CASA, that is what that director does. They work on grants. That was affecting our probation department. We had a grant that was taking up too much time that we had to let go of. They are now seeking like a Ball Brothers grant to try and help get some funding that's not so complicated because those federal grants are complicated. We are just not going to seek funding through federal. It's just too much. We don't have the time. We don't have the manpower. We're looking more local, like Ball Brothers and things like that. That's just where we're at.
Okay, good, thank you.
Yep.
All right, motion to approve financial transfers and to amend salary ordinance with like reductions.
Second.
Motion by Jessica, second by Dan. Roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Bookout.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes. You have the backfilling report in front of you.
Motion to receive the backfilling report. Second.
Motion by Bill, second by Dan. Any comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Bookout.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes. Having no ordinance and more resolutions in front of us, we'll move on to appointments and committee reports. I've asked Bart Kiesling to give us a little update on the Fair Board.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It shows about the 6-day event, 15th to the 20th this year. You can look on our .net on the website and find out some of the events on that.
Hey, Bart, could I get you to go to the microphone so people
Just come back up.
appreciate it? Thank you, Bart.
Okay, thank you very much for the invite, President, and appreciate the time being here. It's my second shirt change today, so kind of nice to come in the cool weather. I guess I want to just talk about some of the things that are going on at the fair. But going back to the 6-day event, it's not just 6 days out of the year. And then some people say it's 2 weeks. And that's always a number that we look at. So it's an all-year event, really. It takes that much time to plan it. I've served on the board with Jessica before. She knows a lot about it. Some of you have been there for a long time, Dan, and everybody, you all know about it. So it just takes a lot of time. We have a working board of about 19 members this year, up to 21. We have community volunteers that are surpass that number by exponentially. And then a huge group of people that volunteer outside that group that donate their time. You could probably name about any business in town here, and they help along the way throughout the fair time and things like that. So The first thing that will start off in the schedule, it's coming up already this Saturday, so we're going to start setting up for 4-H livestock events. And prior to the carnival is the 4-H. That'd be the week of the 7th, Monday. So just briefly touching that, we have exhibitors in the Heartland Hall and the Memorial Building that do 4-H projects such as sewing, fashion review type things, electrical foods. Those start out on Tuesday. They go into Wednesday with the different stages of that, and then poultry check-in. The animals start coming in on Wednesday, July the 9th. So that's when our 4-H animal starts. Those exhibits start with Thursday swine, horse and pony on Friday the 11th. And all these things you can go back and see on site and on our website. Saturday is the horse and pony show. That's always a good event to come out and attend. Sunday finishes the Memorial Building exhibits. We also have motocross starts, so the grandstand events. We have quite a few events in the grandstands, except for this year, Monday's kind of an off period. So Monday is what we're going to call Community Day. We don't have anything in the grandstands that night. The carnival has opted to just not be here on the 14th. It's only going to be the 15th through the 20th. So maybe that will create more of a draw, hopefully, for that short amount of time. Statistically speaking, we have not done very well on Mondays for one reason or another. So through Danny Houston and his group, we've kind of opted not to bring the carnival in on Monday night. So we'll kind of have a community event, and just hopefully a lot of people from the community will come out and exhibit look at the exhibits through the buildings and the 4-H animals. On Sunday, going back to that, we have a motocross that starts the grandstand events on Sunday. Mondays are off night. Tuesday, we go into our autocross. Wednesday night, we have a dirt drag. That's going to be anything from snowmobiles on the dirt to trucks and fast cars. They're in the grandstands. Truck and tractor pull historically has always been on Thursday. That's on Thursday. Friday night, we go in, that's going to be a new deal. Normally Wednesday night, we've had the demo derby. We switched that to Friday. So we'd like for everybody to come out on the demo derby on Friday night. And then historically, the rodeo on Saturday to finish up the fair. And then that kind of is the overview for all of that. We've had a good couple years. Obviously, we've all survived COVID. We have a president, Dan White. He's pretty much personally achieved some huge goals. Financially, he's gone out and received and sequestered almost $60,000 in charities over the last 2 years. And you see those on the banners behind Jane Laster grandstand. You'll see all those banners up there, people who have contributed. So that's helped a bunch. It takes about all the money that we make during the fair. It's probably 75% of our budget. And I'm not real good. I'm not on the numbers end of the deal, so I don't want to get into some quote numbers. But it takes about that much to get us through the year with our expenses. And we still have storage on site. We have Heartland Hall that creates an area for people to rent and have meetings. We have wrestling. We have there's a lot of things in the Memorial Building. If I'm missing something, Jessica, you can probably remind me. We have the wrestling's a big deal, and then some things of that nature. But it takes about all that money to get us through. And then with the help of the commissioners, I see Commissioner Brand here today. We appreciate all that they do. They pretty much are they're the president of what we do. We just go to them and tell them what we need, and they help us when they can. Through edit money and some grant money, we've been able to improve some buildings over the past 4 or 5 years through some foundation money and some things from Farm Bureau. We've been able to put in a new sheep barn and then extended that just last year. We're trying to get that finished up. We had some edit money left over to the tune of about $11,400 that we're going to give to the 4-H to finish the electrical on that building. So hopefully we'll have that building finished up in a couple of years. Are there any questions from you folks and committee persons that have any questions for us? We appreciate all you do, and we'd like to definitely invite you all out anytime you'd like. Wednesday night, we could use some help in the grandstands if you'd like to come out and wear your shirts and greet people and just walk around and make sure they're wearing their armbands. Friday night, we're about 3 people short in the grandstands, so you're all welcome to come out. Councilman from Randolph County, Cheeseman, if you guys want to come over and visit, you're here visiting this meeting. Welcome you over. Okay, and anybody else? So we're
I'd
just
like-
looking forward to a good fair and hopefully weather permitting. That's the other thing. If we could control the weather, we could really control our finances. But if we have a rain out event, then it really hurts us.
I'd like to make a
Dan?
comment about how good the Fair Board and the Fair Board President's done to improve on the fairgrounds. It's just people that attended, my 4-H friends, they're impressed.
Good.
Thank you, Bart, for all your hard work.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We enjoy doing it. Our heart's in it. Some of us have been there since we took our training wheels off the bikes, and that's the only reason we're there. You guys could turn the air conditioning down just a little bit.
I guess I want to share too, I really appreciate all the time and effort you put into the fair as one of our board appointments. I know that you mentioned it being a working board, but it's probably the hardest working board in our community. You're out there every night, moving dirt, doing
Yeah,
something out
during
there.
those nights.
So I'm just really proud that we have our 2 appointments are very dedicated. Rhiannon Reed's the other one, and she's out there every night. Super proud to be a part of that organization. So as a council member, I'm just very proud that our folks are really digging in and loving it and continue to want to be a part of that board.
Well, we're always looking for we take criticism very well. We're looking for new ideas. Some of these things, like I said, historically are over and over in the grandstand, so it comes fast. If you have any ideas or you happen to go to a different state and you see something that you'd like, just please let us know or get with Dan or let one of the commissioners know, and we'll try to raise the money if you guys can dream it, we can make it happen in the grandstand area. And then all the other areas, we still need a lot of help with the electrical, long-term maintenance of the buildings, the roofing and things. We get a lot of donations throughout the year, HVAC type things and electrical. We get huge discounts. People cannot donate that kind of stuff, and we don't expect them to, but we get a lot of discounts in kind throughout the year. It's a huge community involvement, and we want to keep it that way, keep continuing to grow. So any new ideas that you all may have, we're open to them all the time.
Great.
So appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions for Bart? Bart, I do appreciate you taking your time to give us an update. I will echo the comments that were made here. Our fairgrounds and especially our fair is something I feel like is unique to our community. I've grown up in 4-H. I met Bart when I was 10, my first year of 4-H, and it's a friendship that's lasted my entire lifetime. So 4-H to me is key in raising our children. So, but I really appreciate the time you spend on the fair board and everyone that donates their time and volunteers for that. And I think that's, like Jessica said, the hardest working board in our community. So
I will
once again,
extend that appreciation and let all them know. So I see them often.
thank you very much.
Looking forward to the next few weeks. Hope to see you all there, in and out. Come as you wish. Thank you.
Alrighty, moving on. Mr. Hughes, he went to give us an update on security committee.
Yeah, the security committee, I'm your representative on the committee. It consists of the chief judge, representatives from the sheriff's department, court administrator. Commissioner Riggin is the appointee from the commissioners, county clerk, and emergency management representative. Our duty is to maintain a security plan for the Justice Center, for this building, for other county facilities. That plan also has to be submitted to and approved by the state. This year, there were no changes to the security plan, so the only action we took in April was to approve the minutes of the prior year's meeting, at which the third amended security plan was adopted.
All righty, thank you. Any questions for Bill? All righty, appreciate that. All right. Mr. Cantz has asked for time to give us an update on the IT committee, so, Matt?
Sure, just real quick. So we've, met recently with, Google, again, relative to a potential opportunity to, move our Exchange server for email over to Google Cloud, in their Gmail application. Same with the Microsoft Office applications and replacing a majority of those with Google tools. There's a lot of upside benefit to potentially that happening, a lot more tools that we can have access to. First and foremost, for same or less cost than we pay for today for Microsoft. We're still working through that. We've also met with a group out of Indianapolis that would help in the transition of that if we decide to go that direction. So that was our most recent meeting relative to that. The idea of moving our storage and other factors off of machines, there'll be a phased approach if we ever get to that point. So there's a lot of talk about how we're going to try to basically prepare ourselves for the next 20 years from a technology perspective. And I think this is a step potentially in the right direction. So we're working through all that. We meet with the IT team. I'm meeting with Commissioner Brand with the IT group to go over their budget for next year. There has been talk from the commissioners about trying to get some edit money added into the IT budget, which would afford us the opportunity to make some hardware purchases and some things from a security standpoint that we need. We know that there's connection issues between buildings. We need to solve for that in the long term. We just had an outage, I believe, at the Justice Center and other places just this week, so or last week. So we've got some work to do just from a connectivity standpoint. So we'll be working through that during budget time. That's it.
All righty. Thank you, Matt. Any questions for Matt? All right, moving on. Anybody have any old business they wanted to bring up that I don't have on the agenda?
I think at the last meeting, we said the finance committee was going to take a look at our rainy day fund. Has there been any discussion of that?
The Strategic Finance Committee has not met, I don't
Okay.
think, since
That's fine.
we've had people out and all the things, so we're slated to meet, I think, next week, maybe.
Thank you.
We are scheduled, yes.
We're scheduled.
Yeah. We not dropped it, Bill. We did get some information, I believe it was from Elizabeth regarding that, so we do have a little more information, but like Matt said, we really just need time to discuss it.
Very good. Thank you.
All right, any new business? All righty. Any elected officials or department heads would like to speak? All right, Emily?
Good morning again. I have a job description that Matt said I could present because it's a really simple change. Do you guys need to see a copy of that? I sent it, but I have copies if you need it. Okay, so this is that job that you all approved last month where we flipped the probation officer from part-time to full-time and the pretrial screening analyst from full-time to part-time. So the pretrial screening analyst, I do not have a current job description for part-time. All I have is full-time. So what I sent was a proposed part-time job description. The only changes being that I took the top part and changed the FLSA status to exempt and the status from full-time to part-time. Everything else is the same, but I need to get that approved so I can give it to HR for them to put and switch out as a current job description.
So when I spoke to Emily, just given the dynamic, I don't think it warrants, and she's getting ready to post it, so I didn't think it was necessary for us to make any other tweaks from a job compensation committee. No, there's no change. We've already approved the other pieces. So I would make a motion that we approve the job description for the part-time probation
Pretrial screening analyst.
pretrial screening analyst.
Yep.
I'll second that.
All right, a motion by Matt, a second by Jessica. Any questions or comments on this? Everybody feel like they understand what's happening? All right. Yes, Tanya?
May you repeat that name, please, so I can write it on this?
It's pretrial. The actual name is pretrial supervision screening analyst.
Say that 3 times fast.
You have it, Tanya?
Yep.
All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Bookout.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Emily, while you're up, would you look and see if anybody signed up to speak from the public? And if you didn't speak, now's the time for you to get up and speak if you'd like.
No.
All righty. I guess before I move on too fast, was there any more elected officials, department heads would like to speak? All righty. No public comment. All right, comments from council. Nobody wants to go?
I was just gonna say that 5 of the 7 of us attended our annual state called county council meeting over the weekend. It was a full day on Saturday with some training on Friday. Just a handful of us showed up for the Friday event, and I always appreciate that annual conference because there are always nuggets. There's some things that are repetitive, which isn't always a bad thing to hear multiple times, especially with so many changes to SB1 and getting familiar with that. And so I'm just always really proud as a council member. We had 5 out of our 7, so we were one of the largest attending counties there. And our auditor, Ed, was able to join us on Saturday, which is, we haven't had an auditor representative for a few years, so I was really happy to have that too. Tanya, maybe we'll get you next year. But it's a good training and a good time to network and benchmark off other communities because there's a lot of Q&A opportunities, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to attend.
Thank you, Jessica. Anybody else?
I'd just like
Go
to
ahead.
I'd just like to make a comment that we had Mr. Keesling up here, and we do have a great Delaware County Fair coming up, and I hope everybody attends it. And once again, I want to reiterate the appreciation for the Fair Board and the board president.
Thank you, Dan. Matt?
Well, just to expand on what Jessica was mentioning, and just in preparation for budgets submissions being done here at the end of this month, appreciate everybody's work on that. The OpenGov system does appear to be operating effectively and is really going to, I think, streamline the budgeting process just in the what little I've seen so far, but with some of the feedback I've heard that it's going well. So I appreciate the auditor's work on that. Relative to the AIC meeting and some of the changes from the SB1 piece, I do think it's worth reiterating a few points of emphasis for this year, because a lot of these things do take place starting July 1, including the 10% homestead credit. There's an over 65 and disabled deductions now credit for property taxes. There is a cap for our growth of 4% on that, and that is what we are trying to closely monitor and try to understand for next year's budget, because we have it was a consensus among everybody in the audience of this meeting that no one knows where anybody stands relative to next year's dollars. A big one also is the new business personal property tax. So anything that was done after January 1 of this year is not subject to a 30% floor, which means when you deduct your taxes or when you depreciate your new investment on equipment or what have you, there's always a 30% floor where you'll pay 30% on that value to taxes, to property taxes. After July 1, that goes away. So any new investments by companies in our county potentially would be able to depreciate those assets, solar, new equipment to existing businesses, et cetera, down to zero, which means we're going to be taking in less revenue over time for that. So that's a hit that Councilman Hughes has mentioned before. So there's going to be a lot of changes to LIT, local income tax. County Council is going to be basically solely responsible for implementation of LIT starting in 2028. So in 2027, we'll be restructuring our local income tax model as it stands today anyway, unless the state decides to do something different. So we're also trying to tackle that analysis as we speak. So I would say currently, at least from my perspective, nothing will change with our local income tax at our level, or I don't believe in the interim until we can work through some of the what potential changes are going to be made here in about 2 years anyway. So I think that's about it. Oh, the other piece I would say that impacts our county most is the Health First Indiana funding for public health. The fiscal year was supposed to be a $150 million investment across the state. That's been reduced to 40 million for the next 2 years. So, and I probably should have had Jamie come in maybe at some point and talk about this, but ultimately, our public health department has been investing a ton of money on marketing and new services and developing relationships and partnerships with other local organizations to try to improve the health of our county. And that funding that the state allocated last year or last 2 years has been cut down. So we have not made any changes to their overall budget that we had prior to that money coming in, so I don't think we're in danger of doing anything, but there may be some limitations going forward on some of that. But that money also if it's not spent, you get to keep it. So there's going to be money in the bank for public health to continue to make some improvements, I think, here. That's it.
Thank you, Matt. Any other comments? All right, hearing none, to make a motion, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Jessica, second by Dan, roll call.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Bookout.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes. Thank you all, and our next meeting is July 22nd, 9 a.m. right here.